Hi. So, first of all, I would like to welcome both of you to my channel, Deep Cricket Analysis. So, before getting into the discussions, I would like to hear your views on SRH. So, why do you like the squad so much and who your favorite players are? So, let's start with Anu.
So thanks for inviting me, Deep. Pleasure to be on your channel. SRH, Sunrisers Hyderabad. How can I not like it? It's my hometown team. Let me say
Okay.
that way. And again, one of the main reasons for liking Hyderabad, I actually started following Hyderabad right from the days of Deccan Chargers and
Okay.
Adam Gilchrist, and I've been following them pretty closely. So thanks to Gilly, my loyalties have been with Deccan. But over the last few years, one of my favorite players, that is David Warner, I love him.
Okay.
So David Warner has been one of my favorite batsmen, and being I myself being a left-handed batsman, I just adore David Warner, and that brought me towards Sunrisers, and I continue to support them because of Warner.
Okay. Aditya, your views?
I started supporting Sunrisers right from the Deccan Charger days. Back in those days, as last year of college for me, I was we used to have rivalry with the Delhi team because we had a group of people in our hostel who used to support Delhi, and we were
Okay.
all Telugu speaking, so we all used to support Hyderabad. It was a pretty electric environment back in those days. You would sit in the common room, and it almost would come to fisticuffs sometimes when either Delhi beat Deccan Chargers or Deccan Chargers beat Delhi. In the second, I think in the first or second season, I think the Deccan Chargers team did okay, but didn't do that great. RR obviously won it. Um, and then in the subsequent season, we actually won the title. So I just got out of college. That was the fact that I couldn't stick it to the Delhi guys was a really was something I still regret. But eventually, why do I support Sunrisers now? Obviously, it's my home team, and I've been born and brought up in Hyderabad. So yeah, that is one of it. And why do I support them so passionately? It's because I hate Delhi as well. So
Okay.
that both of them together.
Right. So, my next question is to Anu. So, do you think this time SRH has all those players who can take SRH all the way to the finals? So, do you think this is the same team like 2016 or 17 when Warner had that amazing season? Bhuvneshwar and Siddharth Kaul bowled so beautifully. So, do you think this is the same team? The players are same, but do you think they have the same quality right now?
So I mean, even the players are not same actually. So I did an analysis of the team which won the IPL in 16 versus the team that they're carrying now. Hart says obviously I want them in the finals, but statistically speaking, I don't think they have the power to win the IPL. But let me put it this way: if they come in the top four
Yes.
and reach the knockouts, and when you get into knockouts, is anybody's day. So I think they could be a top four contender, and then on their day, if they end up firing, then there is a outside chance for them. But I definitely feel that with the power that they have, they could be a top four contender. But I still believe they missed a trick by releasing Shikhar Dhawan.
Right. Right.
Yeah,
Right. Right.
I actually agree. I think releasing Shikhar Dhawan was probably a mistake because he would assure you quality at the top. And if one of Williamson or Bairstow would have to sit out, then you'd still have an international level player right up top. I also believe that winning the IPL is probably a stretch for this team. But like Anup said, if we make it to the top four, and I'm pretty confident that we'll make it to the top four, it's then anybody's day.
Yeah. So one more interesting observation. So do you think this team is very similar to Rajasthan Royals in terms of their setup? So they are top heavy. They rely very much on their four overseas. Their four overseas usually pick themselves. And then when you look at that bowling lineup. Their bowling lineup also picked themselves. But the problem lies in their Indian middle order. After the top three, you only have Manish Pandey here and you have Sanju Samson there. And after that, there is no batting left. Or even if there is batting left, that batting doesn't give you that much confidence.
You're right. So where I slightly would disagree with the fact that they are like Rajasthan Royals is that Rajasthan Royals have made it a knack of picking the players for the spot. They have, so if you look at the top six or the top seven or the bottom four from a bowling standpoint, it's horses for the courses is what they follow. So they may not be a big name player, but they perfectly fit the bill. So for example, 2008, when they won the first title, Yusuf Pathan at number five, number six, or number four, number five, number six. Nobody knew about him as a floater. So depending upon the role that he performed. Then obviously Shane Warne with his inspirational leadership. Here you can equate that to Warner, where Sunrisers lack it is there, especially the middle order. When if you look, take out the top three, the 4, 5, 6. Even today it's unstable. Nobody knows who's going to follow this 4, 5, 6, and that is where my worry is that they are going to lose the most of their games because they lack Yusuf Pathan's power hitting, they lack Ben Cutting's all round and Moses Henrique's all round capabilities that they had in 2016.
Yes.
So if they
You're
get
missing Yuvraj Singh also.
Yuvraj Singh, oh, I just cannot forget UV's contribution in the final. Even though it was 38, but it was a significant contribution. Yes, UV with his part-timers and Ben Cutting, Moses Henriquez, that's where they are missing. And let's not forget that had Shakib been part of this IPL, he's been banned for all the good reasons.
Yes.
But had he been part of this IPL, that would have made a significant contribution towards SRH.
Yeah. Aditya, your views?
I actually think we are a superior squad to RR. And I know you and I have had our discussions, but I still believe that RR's bowling is raw. You have a Jofra Archer, and I really can't see, past that, apart from Shreyas Gopal, I guess. But I think SRH is a pretty balanced squad even today. You have unproven talent like Virat Singh and so on, but you also have Vijay Shankar, you have Manish Pandey, and you have unknown entities like Fabian Allen, unknown in the IPL scene, but outside of the IPL he's been pretty good. So I actually feel that we have a pretty good squad right now. Again, like I said, it's not title winning. We probably lack like Anup said, Shakib. You also lack Shikhar Dhawan at the top. But apart from that, I think we are pretty settled, and I don't think RR matches up to SRH.
Okay. So let's start our probable 11 discussion. So David Warner picks himself at number 1. Yeah. So the question is, will you go with Wriddhiman Saha as wicketkeeper or Johnny Bairstow as your wicketkeeper? So remember, we are playing IPL in UAE conditions and the ball will spin. And Saha is a better wicketkeeper than Johnny Bairstow. But you have to also see the balance of the squad and their batting abilities.
Yeah, so if I can start, there are two problems. If I were the coach, the one big problem that I want to fix is the middle order perceived weakness. I'm just using the word carefully here, the perceived weakness, because the team, I mean, on their day, some of them, they can score. I mean, I have my list here, so apologies for looking at my list on the side. So you'll see my side angle. But Warner at the top for sure. I have two combinations. So if they do end up selecting Bairstow, because they may want to continue from where they left off last season, because last season they were explosive. So one option, if they go ahead with Bairstow, then I still feel there's a spot for Saha. There is still a spot for Saha. He could be used as a floater. He can come in at either number 3 if the wicket falls early, or if they have a good sort of a set platform between Warner and Bairstow. depending upon whether they are chasing, how big total they are chasing. If they're chasing, then there is a very exciting talent. I'm pretty excited for a young talent called Samad. I just love him. And I've been following him pretty closely in the domestic circuit. And I think he would be a good fit for number three. Between him and Saha's floaters, if there's a huge chase, maybe Samad can come in at number three. Then at number four, you have Pandey, then Shankar, Vijay Shankar at number five. Then another exciting all-rounder by the name Abhishek Sharma. I think he's also pretty exciting. If you look at actually the limited opportunities he has got, he has been scoring at 150 strike rate.
Yeah.
So at number six, all he's going to get is like 5 balls to 10 balls at the max. And if he can make it 15 to 18 runs out of those, I think that's all they need. And then, I mean, these are my top six between Samad, Sharma, and Saha. Between these three, 2 of them should play. And because I like to see Samad play, maybe to begin with, Samad replacing Saha and Abhishek Sharma at number 6. And then Nabi, I like Nabi at number 7 because they don't have Yusuf Pathan this year. They need somebody who can pinch it big, and that's his background too, because Afghanistan plays most of their games in the Middle East. So Nabi and Rashid should play. Then there's an exciting left-arm tweaker, Shahbaz Nadeem. Because it's spinning conditions, I would like to see Shahbaz Nadeem as a third spinning option, along with Bhuvi, and Bhuvi is definitely a starter. And Khalil, Sandeep, or Kaul, one of them, they can always rotate between them, because if you look at them, technically everybody is above 7.5 economy, and none of them are good in the power play overs. And if Nabi is playing, Nabi is going to open the bowling anyways.
Right.
And so I don't mind. I mean, just for the sake of variety, if you need a left armer, then you have Khalil. But I still believe Kaul and Sandeep, they are better options over Khalil. That's my 11.
Right. So the problem with this 11 is you have Abhishek Sharma, the bowler. Then you have Shahbaz Nadeem. They both are similar kind of bowlers. So you already have Nabi. He will give you 4 overs sure shot. You have Rashid Khan, who will give you 4 overs sure shot. Right. So then you have Bhuvneshwar Kumar, who will bowl 2 in the power play and 2 in death. So now your death bowling, who will bowl with Bhuvneshwar Kumar in the death? So if you are going with only one pacer, then Khalil has to bowl 2 in death, and teams will definitely go after Khalil, right? So you need one additional pacer.
So the way I was thinking was I would have Rashid bowl 2 of his overs in the death along with Bhuvi, because those are going to be slow, dry tracks. And with Rashid, with his fast, quickish leggies, it's going to be really tough. And mind you, SRH is, I think they are stationed in Sharjah, which or actually Abu Dhabi, where the grounds are pretty huge, and they are pretty huge grounds. And most of the Middle East grounds, all the 3 grounds that they're going to play, they are huge grounds. And it's not going to be that easy to clear them for sixes that easily, like they could do it in either a Wankhede or even for that matter, Chinnaswamy stadiums. They are not going to get that luxury.
Right.
So with that, I think, I mean, that's, and because of the slowness of the pitch, and in Sharjah, as far as I can recollect, there has never been a major dew problem. They have occasional sandstorms. That's the problem. But I don't think dew is going to be that much of a deterrent. So with that, I believe these 3, and knowing these guys, definitely one of these bowlers is going to have an off day. I cannot expect Shankar to have 4 overs. I cannot have Abhishek Sharma to have 4 overs. So these guys are occasional bowlers. So based on that is my assumption, but I would love to hear Aditya's thoughts.
Yeah. So I actually have a different view, and Appu and I have had our conversations, but I firmly believe that owing to how untested the middle to lower middle order is, I would have Warner, Bairstow, and Williamson as my front 3. And that would be a starting lineup. Now, the IPL is throws all kinds of tricks and turns at you, so we would obviously have to adapt. But my starting, how I would start the tournament would be Warner, Bairstow, and Williamson. Um, given their availability, obviously. But that would be my front three, and I would pin my hopes on my front three to fire. And then I would follow it up with Shankar and Manish Pandey. So that would be my top five, and then I would have either Samad or Abhishek Sharma, depending on who actually performs better in the first few matches. I would start out with Samad, and then if that's not working out, then I would probably replace it with Abhishek Sharma, or the other way around, because Abhishek Sharma also gives me a few overs in between there. For my all-rounder, I would have I would just go with Rashid to actually begin with, and then I would top it up with Bhuvneshwar Kumar, Khalil, Sandeep Sharma. I actually trust Sandeep Sharma more than I trust Siddharth Kaul, because Sandeep Sharma is going to be going to bowl those slower ones even at the death. So I trust him more than I trust Siddharth Kaul. I actually don't prefer Siddharth Kaul because he can be a little inconsistent. And then I would go top it up with Bhuvneshwar Kumar. So my last four would be Rashid.
You still have one spot left. So your Rashid is playing at 7.
Yeah, so I'll have yes, Rashid is playing at 7 in my 11. I'll have Bhuvneshwar Kumar, I'll have Khalil, and I'll have Sandeep Sharma. And then as the 11th option, I would then choose between two people. I would either bring in, depending on how my 11 goes and how my players are performing, I would have rotation between either Saha or it would be Siddharth Kaul. So if I feel that my bowling is weak, then I would bring in Siddharth Kaul. If I feel that my batting is weak and my front 5, 6 are not performing, then I would bring in Saha. That is how I would go. And down the tournament, if I feel that Williamson or Bairstow are not firing, then I would replace one of them with Fabian Allen or Nabi. With Nabi, what I've seen is he has performed well in the last IPL, but in the previous IPL, in the IPL before that, he was actually a letdown. So I would be a little cautious with Nabi. I would actually prefer Allen over him. But again, that's something that I would take a call as I would go through.
So basically, Vijay Shankar and one point. Basically, Vijay Shankar and Abhishek Sharma are your fifth bowlers, right? If Saha is at 11, so Saha is your floater. Okay, that's a very interesting viewpoint. Yes, Anu.
No, I was just saying that the one alternative squad, depending upon not to start with the tournament, but if the middle order is firing during the course of the IPL, and if somebody finds good form, say Manish Pandey and Vijay Shankar, they start performing. One thing that they could look is replacing Nabi with Billy Stanlake, and to add some quick firepower. So that way, what would then happen is that they would have one less of a twist. So they anyway have Nadeem, Abhishek Sharma, and Rashid as their spinners. Then they will have Bhuvi, Stanlake, and Vijay Shankar with his medium pacers. So with these three fast bowling options, so they'll still have 6 people bowling, and that's an option they could always consider if, say, if Nabi is misfiring, and he's not, and if they feel that additional pacer and if at all Dew, I don't know, they have a brand new stadium. In that new stadium, if Dew makes an impact, then they could always get Billy. And Billy Stanley, he has been a good performer whenever he has, either for his country or even the limited windows of opportunities he gets in IPL.
Right. So both of you don't see Mitchell Marsh in your 11.
No.
Mitchell Marsh with this, he's not for his medium pace option, the conditions don't suit him. I would have definitely picked him if the IPL was either in Southern Hemisphere. Anywhere in the Southern Hemisphere, he would have made a good impact. But if the matches are being played in the subcontinent or subcontinental conditions, I don't think he would be that big of a utility as a bowler. And then if you take out that utility, then as a batsman, then it's just we have better options than him.
Right.
Yeah, I also believe that the slot that he's in, which is the all-rounders slot, I would rather have a spinner as an all. I'd rather have a spinning all-rounder than a medium pace all-rounder. And additionally, I feel that he's sort of settled into the ODI game, and I think it'll take time for him to adapt to the fast pace as well. And recently, I think yesterday or day before, he also put in a comment. He actually gave a press conference that he prefers the ODI format over the other formats as well. So that sort of speaks to his mindset.
Right. So one last interesting question. So since Barstow is the wicket keeper, so instead of selecting Saha as a pure batsman, so would you like to see Priyam Garg in your 11 at number 3?
Priyam Garg would replace whom?
Wriddhiman Saha at
Because
number 3. So because you already have Barstow as a wicket keeper.
So in my opening 11, the first game definitely I would like to see Samad and Abhishek Sharma. So Saha will wait for his chance. I was anyway planning to have Saha, Samad and Sharma, two of them out of these three. I would start with Samad and Sharma. So I was not planning to include Saha in my first initial 11, but if Priyam Garg is a good talent, but I will not begin my tournament with him.
Right. So let's.
Me neither.
Yeah.
I wouldn't. I would rather have someone who's tried and tested to actually begin the tournament. I think one person that that you can also keep an eye out for. I don't know if he'll get his chance. Is a guy called Sandeep Bhavanaka. He's
right.
I think he's also exciting. So if down in the tournament, if Samad and Samad, Priyam Garg, all of these guys don't actually fire, I think that is another kid that we can look out for.
Right.
So I'm going to be actually Nabi and Fabian Allen. They could, that's another swap they can have at some point in time. But again, Fabian Allen being a left armer himself, the utility goes away because then they would overload with all lefties. So that's the only reason I'm not too inclined about Fabian Allen, even though he's an explosive talent. But with Abhishek, Nadeem, then Fabian Allen, it's just it just becomes unidimensional. So it doesn't help.
Yes. So at some point, if you have to make a trade-off that you can either include Bairstow or Williamson, then whom will you pick? Just for the leadership quality.
So if the point is just between Bairstow and Williamson, that I have to definitely pick one. In some reason, I'm actually inclined towards Williamson more for a different reason. I am still tempted to open with Warner and Saha and open them and push Williamson down the order a little bit to give more stability towards the middle order. And I would like to see Sunrisers challenge themselves by doing that, because that would enable that they finish most of the games. If Williamson lasts even 30 to 50 balls, IPL history has shown this is a guy who can score 500 and above or 600 runs and above at 130 plus clicks. So
right.
You have a guy who can score at the strike rate, who can score it consistently. Just that he doesn't get the credit. That's the unfortunate part of it, because he keeps smiling for everything. He should have his ferociousness come out. But I would love Sunrisers at some point to do that. And just because I think they do not, Tom Moody is a guy who likes to keep it status quo. And last year the pair was explosive, so he would want to continue with Bairstow and Warner. But that's a good thing. If they do that, I would be very much interested to do that.
Yeah. Hi, Aditya, your take?
Yeah, like I said, I want all three of them in the team. Warner, Bairstow, and Williamson. I wouldn't want to make a choice between them. So that's who I start with, because I firmly believe you need to have your best batsman out and in the open when the action gets going. So that'll always be my front three. Now, if that somehow upsets the batsman or somehow upsets the balance, the only reason why I would see is that your middle order or lower middle order is not performing at all, and in which case you will sort of need to replace the overseas player. In which case, I would also agree with Anup that I would go with Williamson over Bairstow for both his leadership qualities, as well as, although he is not as explosive as Bairstow is, but he can still be pretty effective.
So do you see down the
Saha, Saha is a very good player of spin. Let's not forget that. Saha likes spin, and one of the few Indian centurions in IPL too.
Yes.
So that guy is very underrated, and even though for his size, he's very underrated. And if given a chance at top of the order, I think it was last year IPL or previous year, I'm forgetting exactly, but he did open for a few matches and he was very explosive in the limited opportunities he got. Yes, that he was not consistent at all, but I will still bet my money on Saha this year performing, because he has a lot to prove before the Australian tour.
Right. So do you see in any match that SRH will drop Rashid and pick both Fabian Allen and Nabi? Or maybe Nabi and Stan Lake?
Only if he's injured, or if if they win the first 10 matches on the row, and then they will do that. But I don't see that happening. Rashid is their trump card.
Yeah, Rashid is pretty much undroppable.
Okay. So let's try to finalize our 11. So Warner is automatic pick. So now the question is who will open with Warner in the starting 11. So I guess both of you.
Let me go with Saha. Go with Saha.
Okay. So Aditya, do you see Saha in your 11?
Like I said, I see Saha in my 11, but only as a floater. I wouldn't.
Okay.
So for me, number 3 is always the 3 guys I mentioned. Yeah.
Okay. So let's keep Saha in the 11. We will fix his spot later. So then, Bairstow or Williamson?
Williamson number 3.
Williamson number 3. Okay. So then, in your top 3, Bairstow is there. So we have already selected four batsmen. So
in Aditya's 11, he has Bairstow. In mine, I don't.
Yeah.
Okay. So then for number 4, Manish Pandey. Or 5, yes. Manish Pandey. Yeah. 4 Samad.
4
Pandey.
4 is Pandey.
Right. Okay. So 5 is Samad. Then you see Vijay
5 Shankar for me.
5 Shankar. Okay. Then Samad comes at 6.
Samad at 6, yes. Samad and between Samad and Shankar, they can float between 5 and 6.
Okay. So now you can either play Abhishek or like in your case, Anup, you can have Abhishek or Nabi at 7, but in Aditya's case, he need to play Abhishek because he has already selected 3 overseas players in his top 7, right? So 8, 9, 10, 11 are already sorted. 8 Rashid, 9 Bhuvneshwar, 10 Sandeep, and 11 Nadeem or Khalil.
I want to see Nadeem because of the nature of the surface. I don't trust Khalil. Where do you bowl Khalil? Because he is not a good opener in the power play. He's not good in death. So then why would I want him in the 11?
Khalil, to me, has a knack of picking wickets. He's a full Indian international. He's played in pressure situations. So I actually like Khalil over. But again, it depends on the day, depends on conditions, and if we feel that an additional slow spin option works, then Nadeem is fine as well.
No, if you are looking at like to like replacement, then you have two other options. One is Basil Thampi and other is T Natarajan.
No, I don't trust either of them. For me, Khalil and Bhuvi would be my frontline options. I would replace Sandeep with Shahbaz Nadeem.
Actually, statistically speaking, T Natarajan outscores Khalil and others. Statistically, purely from an IPL, but he's an unproven. He has not replicated that form even in the domestic T20s. So that is the worrying fact. But for me, it's going to be Nadeem over Khalil.
Right. So you are basically trusting Vijay Shankar to give you at least 2 to 3 overs on those surfaces, and same with Abhishek Sharma.
2 overs, yeah. Yeah.
Right. So where will Abhishek Sharma and Vijay Shankar bowl? So Nabi will bowl in power play. Bhuvneshwar will bowl in power play. In middle overs, you have Rashid from one end. So will Vijay Shankar and Abhishek be as effective in middle overs as compared to maybe somewhere 1 or 2 overs in the power play?
So Vijay Shankar, if I'm Vijay Shankar, I will definitely bring him on to bowl either the 7th or 8th over, and take out a couple of overs, either 7th or 9th or 8th or 10th. I will take out his 2 overs immediately after that, because those are statistically proven. 7th to 7, 8, 9, 10 are the overs where you can slip in a couple of overs.
Right. So Aditya, your take?
Yeah.
Yeah, I would in my 11, I have Bhuvi and Khalil. I would start off with an over each, and then I would actually have either Sandeep Sharma or Shahbaz Nadeem or Rashid later on. But I agree that 7, 8, 9, 10 would be Shankar and my 5th bowling option.
So both of you are seeing that Rashid will bowl after over number 10.
He can start at the 10th, 10 around. He should come in at 9, not before 9th over for sure. 9th and 10th is the earliest Rashid should come in. So now 9th is the most earliest I want Rashid to be bowling in my, maybe slip in 1 over before the 10th over and come back after 13th over.
Right. So with this bowling lineup, you trust David Warner that he won't use Rashid, that there won't be a need to use Rashid before over number 9.
So that is the flip side. So the other flip side of it, if somebody has an explosive start, and say if I mean most of them say we are playing against Kings 11. The reason why I'm giving Kings 11 example is because of what happened in 2014. So, and now that Maxwell is back again.
Yes.
So let's assume that they have an explosive Gale and Rahul tick off, and you have to get in Rashid in that circumstances. So, but again, when you are preparing, while you want to prepare for the worst, absolute worst case as well, but if you keep just preparing only for the worst case, then that you have already lost the game.
Right. So don't you see Williamson bowling a couple of overs if he's in the 11 over Bairstow?
I don't think he himself trusts his bowling in his during his captaincy. So no.
Okay. Then one last point. So when you look at this 5, 6, 7, so basically Shankar, Samad, and Nabi, let's say. So Samad strikes around 137, Shankar strikes around 130, and then everything is left to Mohammad Nabi because he's the only one whose strike rate is above 140 in this 11 apart from David Warner. Right. So do you see that explosive power at the death that they can score 40 runs in 3 overs if required?
That is going to be their biggest problem, and that is where their biggest concern is. They don't have a Dreras or Pollard sort of power that somebody can come in and start striking at 200 immediately, right? So that's where SRH's biggest challenges, and they have to back Nabi a little bit. And so Nabi is the only person who has that power and has the big hitting abilities, in my opinion. Uh, Samad, let's see how he performs. I don't want to put that teenager in undue pressure because this is going to be his first major tournament. I don't know how he's going to perform, but that's where they are lacking. But with whatever little options they have, I'm going to back Nabi to do that.
Right.
I think historically we've always struggled with that. We actually retained Deepak Hooda, assuming that Deepak Hooda is going to be that explosive player, but that never happened for us. So the way SRH has built an innings all along has been to to actually start explosively. So we have Bairstow, Warner, and Williamson who would take that on. So you would have number one and number two firing on all cylinders. And if one of them falls, then Williamson comes in and then steadies the innings. Pandey would sort of give you the continued impetus into the middle overs. So we've historically performed that way, and I continue to believe that we'll do the same thing this time as well.
No, there's a small change there, Aditya. Where I disagree is that if you look at the 2016 winning side, if you look at the scores, in number 5, number 6, it was not one single person who was providing the impetus, but there are at least two of them, whether it was Ben Cutting or Moses Henriquez or Yuvraj or Deepak Hooda, at least two of them who gave them that finishing touches, who scored it at least 180, 160, to 180 sort of strike rate, including in the final. I cannot forget Ben Cutting's 15 ball 40 in the final. And that is where you are right, where they have tried too many options. There was not one option who has stood out. But between these two, out of these three players, Shankar, Sharma, and Nabi, unless one of them, they need to back these guys consistently. Good thing in the 2016 was they did not change their middle order. If you look at UV, Cutting, Hooda, Moses Henriquez, all throughout, except I think couple of matches. It was a settled middle order and they backed them to the hill. So I want them to do the same thing with at least these three people, Shankar, Sharma, Samad, Nabi, back them to the hill. And there could be like changes as the tournament goes on, but not tinker it too much.
Right. So there is one unpopular opinion in my mind. So let me see your views. So what if there is no Bairstow, no Williamson in the 11? Then you have the luxury to fit in Fabian Allen, Mohammad Nabi, Rashid Khan. So you have 10 overs and you also have that explosiveness in the batting at 5, 6, 7.
So what happens? Warner goes first ball duck.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
So then you don't have anybody who can build an innings, and you don't have anybody who can say you're chasing 190 plus score, and then Warner goes first ball duck, and there's no leader who can guide the team around. So they will miss that leadership very badly. That's why they need at least two people between the three. Bairstow, Warner, and Williamson, two need to be in the 11 all the time.
And they also perform.
If they both perform, then forget top 4. They can compete for 7 and 8.
Right.
So, Warner needs to have a big tournament. If they have to perform, Warner has to play out of his. He has been their consistent performer, and he needs to do that. If Warner fails, imagine this is the year where he got back his captaincy. So there is that thing also he needs to prove. So he needs to prove, and he needs to fire, he needs to score.
Yes. So, but the way Jofra Archer is getting Warner and Bairstow's form, so does this concern you as SRH fan? So both the openers are struggling right now.
Yes, I actually disagree. Warner got, Bairstow got 2 consecutive 50s in the last 2 innings.
That
So
was Baristow's slowest 50 in his ODI career.
all that you need is a guy in touch. We know he has class, so I'm pretty sure. I'm quite hopeful that he's going to have a stormer of an IPL.
For me, the bigger problem is not a specific bowler per se, but the problem that the right arm fast bowling around the wicket option to David Warner, the Stuart Broad exposed his weakness, very similar to what Jimmy Anderson did to Virat Kohli. So he exposed that, and forget Jofra Archer. Jofra Archer just copied that, even though he was bowling over the wicket in yesterday's game.
Yes.
The Stuart Broad ball coming in and at the last minute angling out, eventually either top of off stump or first slip catch. So Warner has that perceived weakness, but this is in Middle East. I'm not expecting the balls to move, so I'm not going to be that worried. And if the ball starts swinging, then I'll be worried for a fact, because then all the Indian players are not going to perform.
Yeah, if the ball moves, I think we have across the IPL we have a problem. So.
Right. So there is one player in this whole SRH setup whom we have not discussed so far, and that is Virat Singh. So he plays at number 3. He averages around 35. His strike rate is around 125. So his stats are actually better than all of these players whom we have discussed, that they can be the potential candidates to play at number 3. And he is also a left-hand player.
I disagree. So who will he replace? If he has to replace, he has to replace Pandey, Shankar, or Abhishek Sharma, or Samad. Samad is the wild card, so leave aside Samad for a bit. So if he has to replace any of the other Indian internationals, either Pandey or Shankar are the only two people he'll be. And I don't want to bracket him with Abhishek Sharma, because Abhishek Sharma he has an spinning capability. Virat doesn't. And I actually did my research on Virat a bit yesterday before this call, because I was trying to see how he has performed. He's a very unidirectional player. He just bats, that's it. He's a very good fielder, but he has to replace Pandey, and that's not going to happen.
Right. So do you see Abhishek Sharma playing at number 3? Then you have this luxury to fit in another hitter at number 6 along with Samad.
It will, at least I don't.
Because for Punjab, he either opens or bats at number 3 in domestic circuit.
So ideally, for them to be successful, number 5, number 6, and number 7 should not get more than 30 balls, and they should play 30 to 40 balls. And if they're playing more than 30 balls, then that means they are either in a very bad position already, and it's a lost cause. So 30 balls, and I would trust definitely these 3 people in 30 balls to score at least 50 runs.
Right. So there is another interesting player. So he's Sanjay Yadav. He's an all-rounder. And again, he's very similar to Abhishek Sharma. And he averages around 30, strike rates around 125. His economy is around 7.86. Again, the problem with SRH is that all Indian spinners are left arm, orthodox, slow spinners. They don't have any proper leg spinner apart from Rashid Khan. So do you think this is a kind of weakness for SRH?
I wouldn't say weakness, but it is what it is, right? So it's lack of a quality tweaker. So what are the options? You are comparing somebody with Rashid Khan. How many Indian spinners? Last year, Kuldeep had a nightmare of a tournament himself.
Yeah.
Chahal was blow hot, blow cold sort of an IPL last year. So not too many options, and so it's unfair. But I don't see him coming into the 11.
Yeah, let me give you one interesting stat. In last 2 IPL seasons, who is the best leg spinner?
Oh, the Shreyas Gopal.
Shreyas Gopal.
Yes, it's not Rashid Khan, it's not Imran Tahir, it's not Yuzvendra Chahal.
Shreyas Gopal.
Yes. So there are players who are now performing better than Rashid Khan in terms of both strike rate and economy.
See, that is what I love about Rajasthan Royals. And that's why I said Rajasthan Royals have this knack of picking a player and getting somehow they maximize the value out of that player. For other teams, or maybe because Rajasthan Royals do not have an option, so they are forced to
Yeah.
get the
Right.
best out of the limited resources they have. But in this case, you have a better performing option already available. Somebody who has been in IPL tested. Abhishek Sharma has played in the IPL and he has performed. So it would break his heart if somebody picks somebody over Abhishek Sharma and starts him, and you are beating that guy's confidence all over. And even when he's going to come back into the 11, say after 4 failures of Sunny, say for example,
Right.
Abhishek Sharma already knows that he was not their first choice, so he's already gone.
Right. Right.
I mean, if you actually notice that SRH keeps trying out these bits and pieces players and also unproven options in the middle to the late stages of the tournament. So if you notice, Basil Thampi will make at least 1 or 2 appearances, towards the middle of the tournament. You won't start with these guys because you have proven options, so you would obviously want to go with them. And then if there is a failure, or if you feel there is one more spinner that you need, or if you need one more fast bowler, then that is when you get the likes of Natarajan or Yadav.
Right. So if so, you guys discussed that at some point of time we will see Billy Stanlake in this 11. So if Billy Stanlake makes into this 11, then who your 4 overseas players will be?
In my opinion, he will replace Nabi. I mean, the way I set up my 11 for the 4 overseas was Rashid, Stanlake, Bairstow / Williamson, and Warner.
Right. So Aditya, do you see Billy Stanlake in your 11 at any stage in this tournament?
To start off with, I don't, unless there is a fast bowling disaster. And in the last West Indies T20 that happened in India, Bhuvi got really spanked by Pollard, and then subsequently Jason Holder, who hit like I think 23 of 8 or something like that in the last over. So that was a disaster. So if Bhuvi's form starts becoming alarming that way, then I would have to I'd have to replace him with an international quality fast bowler, which would be Stanlake. In which case, I wouldn't have an option but to drop. In my 11, I would have to drop Bairstow.
Right. So you're picking Williamson over Bairstow.
Yeah, because I need a settled middle order. That to me is a forced change, basically.
Yeah. So then Saha opens with Warner.
Yeah.
Okay. So thank you both of you for joining this call, and maybe in future we will collaborate again and discuss some other franchise.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
I would love to discuss Kolkata this year.
Yeah, definitely.
I would like to discuss Delhi Capitals as well. I don't like them, but I think they are a pretty strong squad.
Oh yeah, Delhi has an interesting team this year. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
But let me ask you, both of you. So now, guess what is your best guess about where SRH will finish this year's tournament?
4 or 5. 4 or 5.
How about you, Aditya?
4.
I think so. I don't. For some reason, I believe they are not going to make it to the top 4 this year. They are going to fall short. The way I'm thinking is net run rate is going to come back and hit them hard, and that's where they are going to lose out the number 4 slot. So I also believe they'll be either 5 or 6, not above that. I want them to prove me wrong, but let's see.
Okay.
So what are your top 4, both of you?
Top 4, not in a specific order, in random order: KKR, MI, Delhi Capitals, and 4th team. I want to, for some strange reason, I want to back RCB. For some strange reason, I don't know why, but I have a feeling that RCB might sneak in. But these are going to be my top 4 this year.
I have completely different view. Rajasthan Royals, Kings 11 Punjab, Delhi Capitals, and 4th is Kolkata Knight Riders.
Yeah,
See, at least two teams match.
Yes.
Yeah, I actually believe it's going to be again in no particular order. KKR, DC, MI, and SRH.
SRH. Yeah, I think we got the three matching. I think the fourth one, I have a soft corner for Virat Kohli, so I am hoping Virat Kohli comes in top four. That's the only thing. But yeah, I mean, I'll still go. I want to go with that.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
So thanks for joining this call.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us. See you.
See you.